American presidents. 46 surprising facts about them. From a 19th century president who killed a man in a duel, to a 20th century leader who once worked as a lifeguard, learn surprising facts about each U.S. president. 1. George Washington. 1789 to 1797. The first U.S. president and Revolutionary War hero was an enthusiastic dog breeder, particularly of hunting hounds, to which he gave names like Sweet Lips and Drunkard. 2. John Adams. 1797 to 1801. Adams and his wife, Abigail, exchanged more than 1,100 letters over the course of their lengthy relationship. 3. Thomas Jefferson. 1801 to 1809. Jefferson, the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, died on July 4th in 1826, within hours of his frenemy John Adams. 4. James Madison. 1809 to 1817. Madison was the shortest president at 5 feet 4 inches and weighed barely over 100 pounds. 5. James Monroe. 1817 to 1825. Other than Washington, Monroe was the only president to ever run essentially unopposed, coasting to re-election in the 1820 race. 6. John Quincy Adams. 1825 to 1829. Years after leaving the White House, Quincy Adams argued a famous Supreme Court case that freed the captive Africans who had rebelled aboard the Amistad slave ship. 7. Andrew Jackson. 1829 to 1837. Jackson once killed a man in a duel. 8. Martin Van Buren. 1837 to 1841. Van Buren was the first president to be born an American. All previous presidents were originally British subjects, having been born prior to 1776. 9. William Henry Harrison. 1841. Harrison lasted only 32 days in office, the shortest stint of any president. 10. John Tyler. 1841 to 1845. Tyler fathered 15 children, the most of any president. 11. James K. Polk. 1845 to 1849. During his term, Polk secretly purchased a number of enslaved children for his Mississippi cotton plantation. 12. Zachary Taylor. 1849 to 1850. Old Rough and Ready never voted in an election prior to being on the ballot himself. 13. Millard Fillmore. 1850 to 1853. Fillmore was the last Whig president. The party imploded soon after he left office. 14. Franklin Pierce. 1853 to 1857. The only president from New Hampshire, also attended college in New England, Bowdoin College in Brunswick, Maine. 15. James Buchanan. 1857 to 1861. In 1853, while serving as minister to Great Britain, Buchanan helped draft the 1854 Ostend Manifesto, which advocated for an American invasion of Cuba. 16. Abraham Lincoln. 1861 to 1865. Honest Abe, the tallest president at 6 feet 4 inches, may have had Marfan syndrome, a genetic disorder that causes people to be very tall, thin, and long-limbed. 17. Andrew Johnson. 1865 to 1869. Though one of the few presidents without a pet, Johnson apparently cared for a family of White House mice, which he called the Little Fellows. 18. Ulysses S. Grant. 1869 to 1877. Civil War. General Grant was invited to join Abraham Lincoln at Ford's Theater on the fateful evening of April 14, 1865, but was forced to decline after he and his wife made plans to visit their children in New Jersey. 19. Rutherford B. Hayes. 1877 to 1881. Hayes was the first president to have a telephone in the White House. 20. James A. Garfield. 1881. Garfield, who was the first known left-handed president, was elected to the U.S. Senate, but he never served as Ohio Senator because he then won the Republican nomination for president. 21. Chester A. Arthur, 1881 to 1885. Arthur was named in honor of Chester Abel, the doctor who delivered him. 22. And 24. Grover Cleveland, 1885 to 1889. 1893 to 1897. No president except Cleveland has ever served non-consecutive terms. He defeated James G. Blaine in 1884, lost to Benjamin Harrison in 1888, despite winning the popular vote, and then came back to defeat Harrison in 1892. 23. Benjamin Harrison, 1889 to 1893. Harrison was the first president to hire a female White House staffer. 25. William McKinley, 1897 to 1901. McKinley's likeness appears on the $500 bill, which was discontinued in 1969. 26. Theodore Roosevelt, 1901 to 1909. Roosevelt was the youngest president, taking office at age 42. 27. William Howard Taft, 1909 to 1913. Famous for his corpulence, Taft was the first president to hurl the ceremonial first pitch at a Major League Baseball game. 28. Woodrow Wilson, 1913 to 1921. In a 1914 proclamation, Wilson officially established the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. 29. Warren G. Harding, 1921 to 1923. Prior to taking office, Harding wrote a series of lurid love letters to his mistress, the wife of one of his best friends. 30. Calvin Coolidge, 1923 to 1929. A quiet man, Coolidge purportedly replied, "You lose," to a visitor who bet she could get at least 3 words out of him. 31. Herbert Hoover, 1929 to 1933. An Iowa native who spent part of his boyhood in Oregon, Hoover was the first president to hail from west of the Mississippi River. 32. Franklin D. Roosevelt, 1933 to 1945. The longest-serving commander-in-chief, claimed to be distantly related to 11 other presidents, including his fifth cousin Theodore Roosevelt. 33. Harry S. Truman, 1945 to 1953. The S in Harry S. Truman was just an initial. It didn't stand for any name. The S in Ulysses S. Grant didn't stand for anything either. 34. Dwight D. Eisenhower, 1953 to 1961. World War II hero, Ike was the first president to ride in a helicopter. 35. John F. Kennedy, 1961 to 1963. After being injured and honorably discharged in World War II, Kennedy was briefly employed as a journalist during the waning weeks of the war. 36. Lyndon B. Johnson, 1963 to 1969. Johnson's first career was as a teacher. He worked at a school near the U.S.-Mexico border for 4 years before launching a career in politics. 37. Richard M. Nixon, 1969 to 1974. Nixon became such a skillful poker player while stationed in the Solomon Islands during World War II that his winnings helped launch his political career upon his return to the United States. 38. Gerald Ford, 1974 to 1977. A star football player at the University of Michigan, Ford turned down offers from both the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers. 39. Jimmy Carter, 1977 to 1981. When his father died in 1953, Carter gave up his successful military career to move back to Georgia and work on their family's peanut farm. 40. Ronald Reagan, 1981 to 1989. Reagan worked as a lifeguard and sportscaster before becoming an actor and, later, a politician. 41. George Bush, 1989 to 1993. While a student at Yale University, Bush was captain of the baseball team and a member of Skull and Bones, an elite secret student society. 42. Bill Clinton. 1993 to 2001, Clinton played the saxophone and famously performed on the Arsenio Hall show when he was a candidate for president. 43. George W. Bush. 2001 to 2009, post-presidency, Bush took up oil painting, exhibiting his work at the Museum of the Southwest in Texas. 44. Barack Obama. 2009 to 2017. Prior to becoming the first African-American president, Obama won 2 Grammy Awards for Best Spoken Word Album. His wife, Michelle, has likewise won a Grammy. 45. Donald J. Trump. 2017 to 2021. Before becoming president, Trump was a real estate developer, entrepreneur, and host of the NBC reality show, The Apprentice. 46. Joe Biden. 2021, President Biden overcame a debilitating childhood stutter after enduring bullying over the condition in grade school.